Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we will start with the next theory, that is Marx theory of class and class struggle. So it will be a continuation of the previous discussion only, like what we have discussed already about mode of production or historical materialism we have discussed. So
yes, sir. I have a doubt. Like Karl Marx had talked about everything in terms of macro things. Like in the syllabus, also the given things are historical materialism, mode of production, alienation, class struggle, etc. But there's also a line by him that religion is the heart of the heartless world. So has he kind of detailed study about linked religion to other things?
No, I didn't understood. What you're asking?
Sir, there is a line by Karl Marx, like the religion is the heart of the heartless world.
Yes.
So have he kind of linked religion to all this stuff in detailed way, other than this particular line, like different theories have been given by him?
No, actually he linked religion with economic infrastructure only. So economic infrastructure is more important and religion is actually part of superstructure. So it is the economic infrastructure which created religion. That's why heart of heartless world, that statement.
Okay.
Because it is guiding all the workers in the capitalist system to get exploited.
Okay.
So it is eventually satisfying the interest of the capitalist in the capitalist system or the haves in general.
Okay, so he his vision of the communist society ultimately that will not have a religion.
No religion, no class, no state, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, just one more note. Sir, as per Hegel dialectism, said that contradiction lead to change in society and create new ideas, right?
Can you talk close to your mic?
Yeah. Are you audible now, sir?
Yes.
So, as per Hegel, this contradiction will lead to change in society and it will create new ideas, right? So, what are the contradictions he's talking about, sir, and how these contradictions have arrived?
Now, any society, after some point of time, there will be contradictions. Like I have discussed with you yesterday also, like we are facing trouble now, right? The corona issue we are facing, this is a contradiction in the present society. So we have to overcome this contradiction, otherwise we cannot survive. So every society, if let's suppose this is a stage, here you will face contradiction. So there comes some idea. So, you will resolve that contradiction. So it's like this, there will be a thesis and then opposite to this thesis there will be antithesis, okay, and together both of them together will be the synthesis. So this is actually the new society. This is contradiction. So to overcome contradiction, something new will come, and together it's like synthesis. New society will be formed by overcoming the problems, and then this will become the thesis, and then antithesis will be there, and together again there will be synthesis, and this process will continue. So that is what I'm saying. Let's suppose this is a society, there will be some contradiction. Any society, after some point of time, contradiction will be there. Contradictions in terms of maybe issues of survival, etc. So at the present society, for you to understand easily, I have used this corona issue. This is the present contradiction that we all are facing, the entire world is facing. So some new ideas may come, like maybe in terms of vaccination or whatever it is, but if it is specific to education system, then it's what I have told you, the Zoom classes and all, right?
Okay.
Yeah, then again after some time also there will be some problem in the current new society which is coming out of this contradiction. There also some ideas will come and it will continue like that, it will go. Yeah.
Okay. My second part of question is, whether Marx has contradicted the Hegel dialectism or whether he has supported or he has just added to the Hegel dialectism.
In fact, Marx, you can say Marx Marx is not denying the case of idea. So Hegel saying it is ideas which is resulting the change. Marx is also saying yes, it is ideas, but these ideas are shaped by the material condition. Economic infrastructure.
Okay, so the material.
This is the most important. This is most important. So ideas are falling in the superstructure. It is no doubt it is ideas, but these ideas are coming because of the material conditions.
Okay.
It is because of the current capitalist system these ideas are coming. So that's why people are even striving so hard to take classes. Otherwise, why people corona, you can simply sit in the home. Even the teachers are also free. Everybody is free, so they don't want to work, right? But because of the system, you are trying to devise something new, okay? Because competition is there, so you need to. So I'm just giving that example. All the teachers are doing something means it is because of the system. This ideas, new type of ideas are developing. Now Google Meet is there, Zoom is there. Now Reliance is coming up with the Geo Meet is coming. So all these because of the. You see the competition. It is because of the capitalist system only. Otherwise, already Zoom is there, Google Meet is there. Why this Geo Meet is coming, right?
Yes.
So it is all these are ideas, but ideas are coming because of the material condition, the system.
Oh. Okay, so you just pretext. You just told that what are the ideas are coming because of the materialistic thing.
Yes,
Materialistic things have been described by the Marx. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in dialectical materialism, sir, apart from Marx, to formalize the answer, should we incorporate it with Friedrich Engels' angle, sir?
Friedrich Engels I will discuss towards the end. Because Friedrich Engels, it's actually Marxian concept of dialectical materialism is formulated in a better way by Friedrich Engels by giving 2-3 propositions. That propositions are derived from Marx theory only. So once we discuss all the 3 theories, I can discuss separately dialectical materialism.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Tell me.
Hello. Sir, yesterday when someone asked you that communism and socialism, as you said, it is quite different from what we are seeing now. So, what is the communism and socialism which Marx is describing? Sir, what is the difference?
No, that is what that particular statement is talking about. Communism deprives no man of the power to appropriate the nature of society. All what it does is to deprive him of the power of subjugating the labor of others in terms of such appropriation. So, if you talk about Marxian version of communism, it is a classless, stateless, egalitarian, no religious society. But is it the same that you're seeing in Russia or China? Is there no inequality? No. So it's over. So it is a different version of communism. It's not Marxian version of communism. But do you ever think that Marxian version of communism will ever come into existence? No.
So what about socialism, sir?
Socialism is actually a transitional stage. It is not purely communism, but that issues are getting solved in socialism. The exploitation is no more there. So it is a transitional stage.
So actually what I was looking is, because I understood what is a communism is, like what is communist society is, and before that we discussed about the feudal society and the capitalist society.
Yes.
The transition phase, like what are the changes that has happened and that led to communism?
The transition in the form of workers will take the control over everything, and workers rule that particular in the socialist society. So workers will be the more powerful.
So what will be the kind of society? Okay, the workers will be there. Is it egalitarian society or it's will be unequal
it
society?
won't be egalitarian. See, there will be one class, and this class may exploit the erstwhile capitalists because of the issues that they have faced before. So it is workers' rule. Still, it is not egalitarian society. The workers will dominate here. So that is why I have told you don't want to talk too much about socialism. It is a transitional phase, and it will eventually end in communism where everybody will be equal.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, according to Marx, capitalism transformed even the personal relationship between man and woman, critically examined with illustration from the contemporary Indian context. Sorry, how do we write about this?
Once we complete Marx, you will get to know this. Even alienation, it is actually connected to all the theories.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Because everything, even right now also you can write something, it is family, related to family also, okay. So even the family is actually started because of private property only. So right now only we have some knowledge. Once we complete alienation and entire theories and critical analysis, you will get to know more content regarding this. And actually once you understood Marx, it should come from within. So only thing is, I'm not going to give you the answer for that particular question in the coming theories, but you will get some more knowledge about Marx and you should be in a position to write an answer for that.
Okay, thank you.
So can we start?
So one last question, sir.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. So, sir, in the last video, it is mentioned that communism being the last stage, it will be the end of struggle between man and the nature. Right, sir? Sir, initially, when you taught us, you said that man and there is a fundamental thing which is the struggle between man and nature. It is fundamental in nature, and when an individual's existence, which is being, gets subjugated in the process of production, that's when he becomes a social being. And that social being is deprived of creative humanism and things like that. That is the fundamental source of many problems in other modes of production. So, my question is, in the final stage, which is communism, will the production stop altogether, and then that's the reason why the struggle between man and nature will end?
No. It is not that production will stop altogether. It is because man will be so much advanced and nature cannot impose any restriction on man at that stage. It is again a utopian concept only. See, every mode of production you can see quantitative advancements. Our productivity, our capability, our control over nature keep on improving and increasing, right? So at the level of communism, when you see, there is nothing from nature that you're going to face. At the primitive level, if you see, maximum restriction was there, but when you keep on improving your productivity or in terms of tools, techniques, etc., while you reach communism at that stage, you will be better equipped in terms of everything. So, and you can express your creativity also completely. So nobody is going to hinder you from anywhere, anything. So at that stage, there is no restriction from nature. You will be better equipped for everything. Dialectical materialism will continue, but it will not be there in communism because there is no need to have any contradictions. Contradictions won't come. If you see any other modes of production that we have discussed, the feudal society or ancient society or the capitalist society, there are two classes and there were always contradiction between the two classes. So in communism, that contradictions will not be there. So there is no need of struggle. Yes, Marx communism is only in paper. It will not come into practice. It is a utopian concept. The classless, stateless society will never come into existence. Okay, so we will start with Marx theory of class and class struggle. So what we need to do first is we will try to understand what is this, what do you mean by class. So some concepts I will discuss here. So we will first see what is class, okay, and then we will see what you mean by class in itself, okay, and also class for itself, and then we will see class polarization, okay, and in that we will talk about bourgeoisization and proletarianization, and then we will talk about consciousness, and in that we will talk about true consciousness and false consciousness. So this is our first part of this particular chapter or discussion, this theory, and then we will talk about class struggle. So this much is related to class. Now we are going to then discuss about class struggle. There we will discuss about what are the reasons for class struggle and the process of class struggle, how it is actually happening. So this is how this discussion is going to be done. So we will first try to understand what is class. So class means, according to Marx, class is actually a person's position in the production process. So he tried to understand everything in terms of process of production. So when you say class, class means your position in the production process. So in a company, if you are working, what is your position? That is your class. If suppose you are a lower level employee, your class is the lower class. If you are a higher level employee, you are the higher class, upper class, right? Or you can see different class like managers, supervisors, etc. So if you are an IAS officer, that is a class. If you are an IPS officer, IPS, IAS, IFS, these are all India services. So there is one class, right? So all these, your position in the entire process of production, that is what you mean by class. So Marx used this term class everywhere, but this is the definition that you can see. And according to Marx, when you are born, you are actually born in classes. You are born in classes. Why? Because your class will be decided by your father's class, right? So just like you cannot choose who's to be your father, you have no choice with respect to your class. You will be in the class of your father. So when you are born in classes, okay? And this is what you mean by class. Class is the position in the production process. So then what do you mean by class in itself? This definition that we have discussed, that position in the production process, that is basically based on an objective criteria, that your position in the production process. That means what kind of job you are doing, what kind of role that you are performing in the production process, right? So that is basically based on an objective criteria, like what you do, right? So this is what class in itself. So class in itself is based on an objective criteria. But we have discussed about many times that the exploitation reaches at its peak, okay, and every mode of production there are exploitation. What will happen is the class, this particular class, maybe workers, if you can talk about the class of workers, they develop some consciousness. When they develop some consciousness of belonging to them, then class 4 itself will emerge. So it is actually based on a subjective criteria. What is a subjective criteria? They develop a consciousness of belonging to the class, and this class is getting exploited. So we have to do something for that particular class. Are you getting me? So that is what I mean by subjective criteria. You are thinking of doing something for the class. So class 4 itself will come. So what is this transformation of class in itself to class 4 itself? When this class in itself develops some consciousness of belonging to the class and want to do something for the class, then class 4 itself will come into existence. Yeah, I'm saying class in itself means it is the simple definition that we have discussed in terms of class. It is your position in the production process. It is a normal objective criteria. Why I say objective criteria? It is your position, so that is objective criteria. And then if you are, let's suppose, worker, you face some problems. So if you are aware about your problems, right, and this problem is common to all the workers, and if you are aware about that, and if you develop some consciousness, okay, that you belonging to a class and you need to work for the entire class, class 4 itself will come into existence. So that class 4 itself is based on subjective criteria. What is that? It is consciousness. And that consciousness can be true consciousness or false consciousness. This we will discuss when we discuss about this process in detail. So this part I will cover over there. So that is what you mean by class, class in itself and class 4 itself. So I hope these three are clear. Now we need to talk about class polarization. So when you talk about class polarization, Marx is mainly talking about two classes always. So Marx is mainly class in itself will not lead to conflict. Class 4 itself will go for revolution and everything. Within class in itself, there are obvious conflicts will be there, that is between two classes. So this is the upper class. There are two classes always, upper class, lower class. See, Marx is always talking about two classes, haves, have-nots, okay? Upper class, lower class. If it is capitalist society, capitalist worker, or bourgeois proletariat. Okay, these are the class. Or if it is ancient society, it is a master slave. If it is feudal society, lords and serfs. So these are the class. Broadly, you can say it is haves and have-nots, right? Or upper class and lower class. This is broadly two classes. But he also talk about some intermediate class in some other books. So the intermediate classes will be fitting into here. So which class will be more, upper class or lower class? Lower class will be more, that's why this base, okay? Upper class will be less, that's why this triangle. So there are some intermediate classes also, like he also referred to some words like lumpen proletariat, okay? Lumpen proletariat means poorest of the poor, more than the proletariat. Then petty bourgeois. Petty bourgeois means not the big capitalist, but like a semi-capitalist, like a trader, okay, some small business people. So these classes are also exist. that I can show here, intermediate classes. But according to Marx, what will happen is, over a period of time, it will either go to this or will come back to this. So if you become a lower class, this process is what you call as proletarianization, because you are becoming a proletariat from the intermediate class. This process is what you call as bourgeoisization. Okay, so essentially two things will happen. So proletarianization or bourgeoisization. So Marx is talking about intermediate class, but eventually what will happen is this intermediate classes will be polarized into any of the two, and this entire process is what Marx calls as class polarization. Okay, so we have discussed about this class in itself, class for itself, class polarization, bourgeoisization and proletarianization. See, this may not be true. You can see a lot of criticism, especially by Weber also. See, what Weber says is this will not happen. Instead, if you see the present society, the structure is like this. What is this? The middle class is actually widened. So instead of going with this structure, you can see this structure nowadays. Middle class is widened. Okay, so this polarization has never come into existence, and it will never come into existence according to Weber. Or you can draw this diagram, whatever it is, both are, if you draw it properly, hexagonal. Okay, so you can see middle class contribution is actually increasing. So this conception is anyway challenged, and it is proved wrong, not only by Weber. Even if you take the contemporary reality, which class is more dominant? The middle class is more dominant. Any one of this diagram you can draw, not both. And you can mention about Weber also. So class polarization is actually not true, but since Marx discussed about this concept, I need to discuss, because this can be asked as a separate question. Okay, so this diagram you need to draw, you need to explain this, and then you need to also talk about the criticism by Weber. So that's what class polarization. Yeah, Sudesh, tell me. You want to ask me something, Sudesh? Okay, now we will talk about class struggle.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the diagram.
But mainly petty bourgeois, those kind of people, the traders, the petty traders, the small traders, small business people, that's what the middle class. No, we won't say poor people as the middle class. The small traders, the small business people, that's what the middle class, intermediate class actually. But when I use the term lumpen proletariat, I am making a point that Marx also talked about some other classes. Okay?
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
you just told that Marx, you just showed the pyramid diagram for Marx, and you said that the lower level comes at the extreme bottom, and whereas it comes to Weber, he contradicts that statement of Marx and tells that the middle class is arising more than poor and the higher class people. So is it like, are you talking in the perspective of the modern days? Because modern days we see a lot of middle class than the lower class people and the
Yeah, even I'm right now, when I've discussed there, I've told you from the perspective of Weber, but again I've told you this is what you can see in the modern society also.
Okay. And sir, one more doubt, that you spoke about the intermediate level, right? In the pyramid diagram. So could you repeat the other name of that level?
Intermediate class, that's it. So what Marx says is this: there may be some intermediate classes apart from the upper class and lower class, but with time this intermediate class will be culminated into or transformed into any of the two through the process of class polarization. And this class polarization involves two processes, that is bourgeoisization and proletarianization. So the intermediate class, this intermediate class will be polarized into this is what proletarianization, or will be polarized to this is bourgeoisization, and the entire process is what class polarization.
Okay, so that you told the term as lumpen something. So will it be the
That is like Marx also talked about these classes, lumpen proletariat. Okay, Marx is also making reference to petty bourgeois. Petty bourgeois means this is the topmost bourgeois, upper class. Petty bourgeois means lower than that. They will come here according to Marx. These are the traders, small business people, etc.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Can we say that Karl Marx is only talking differentiating classes on the basis of the possession of money or capital things, not the possession of the powers which comes with the role? Like the prime minister of the state can be the most powerful person who is running the state, but he's not having that capital things with him.
Yeah, that is the case. No, that is Marx is giving emphasis to economic infrastructure and process of production. If you are good in process of production, that means if you are upper class, automatically you will be powerful, because this is the idea. If you are good at economic infrastructure, the politics and power and everything will come, government, constitution, everything will come here, no? So this shapes. So if you are powerful here, you will be automatically powerful in everywhere else also. Because according to Marx, the parliament is the executive committee of bourgeois. Constitution is the document of bourgeois. So if you are very powerful, everything will be with you, so you will automatically be powerful. And that's when we discuss about Weber, we will criticize that. For Weber, this is the concept. Class is one dimension, that means money, etc. Power is another dimension that has to be treated separately. Status is another dimension that also has to be treated separately. So Weber will be giving you a multi-dimensional understanding.
Okay.
But Marx only talked about one dimension. That is a criticism, mono-dimensional understanding, everything in terms of economic infrastructure.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now when we discuss about class struggle, the reasons, firstly we will see the reasons. One of the reason I will discuss in the tomorrow's theory. No, caste and Marxian concept is not similar. Caste is entirely different concept. This is entirely different. This is everything based on economic condition. Tell me, Swati. Swati, you want to ask me something? We will see the reasons now. The first and most important reason is, now understand it very carefully, this is continuation from previous session only. So the first reason is the forces of production will keep on changing, right? Because forces of production means what? It is the tools, techniques, etc. which is required. When the forces of production changing, the relations of production will also change. I will write it as delta. Okay, relations of production will also change. So what will happen is the new relation and the existing relation will come into conflict. That is the first reason. I'll give you an example. Yesterday I've told you there is a farmer A. He have a land here. Okay, so he want to till the land before taking the cultivation. So he depend on this person B, and B is using traditional methods, measures like bullock cart, okay, all this setup, traditional method. Now C coming with tractor. So what you can see here, from the traditional to modern, there is a quantitative change. What I can say that in terms of this, there is a change in forces of production, right? Advancement in forces of production. The tools and techniques is changing. So what will happen? A before was connected to B. Now this will be no more there, because if you depend on C, time taken will be very less, productivity will be increased, the quality of the tilling and everything will increase. So what will happen? This relation to this relation changes there. Okay, so what will happen? There will be a conflict between these two. So that is what, when I am talking about forces of production changes. So this is what the force of production changed. So relations will change like this, A to C now, before A to B. So C and B will normally enter into conflict. Otherwise you can talk about your case or students, okay? Before Corona, what is the situation? You depend on the conventional college, right? Conventional coaching. So now from where I am teaching this session, I am teaching in Kerala, so you didn't have any access, right? So we never meet. So before there was another relation, let's say A. Now The tools and techniques are changing, right? Because of this iPad, all the setup. So the tools, techniques, forces of production changing. So FOP changing. Now you have access also. So what happened? This you will enter into this relation. Earlier this relation, now this relation. Because better forces of production enable you to come with this new technique, okay, or new teacher. So what will happen? This conflict will be there. I hope you understood this. So this is the first and most important reason. So the change in forces of production lead to change in relations of production. That will lead to a conflict between the existing relation and the new relation. That is the first point. Second point is what? There is an inherent contradiction. That is very simple, that we have discussed yesterday. There is an inherent contradiction between two classes, upper class and lower class. So their interests are contradictory, so there is a possibility of conflict. This is what we have discussed yesterday as antagonist relation. So there is a possible conflict here. Third, you will not understand at this point of time, that we will discuss tomorrow. That is a separate theory, alienation. So these three are the main reasons for conflict. Okay? Now the process of class struggle, the mechanism of class struggle, if you see. So first, primitive communism, there is no problem. But when it comes to feudal mode of production, there are two classes, right? There are slaves and there are masters. Or I can take that diagram so that I don't want to draw. So this is the two class, slaves and masters, right? So with time what will happen is, settled agriculture emerged. Okay, so some of the masters, that is what you call as emerging class. So the emerging class is basically within masters, they are the pioneers of settled agriculture. They come up with new technique, new tools and etc. So they are the emerging class. They are related to settled agriculture. So here, when the slaves revolt against the masters, this revolt is actually aided by the emerging class. This revolt is actually aided by the emerging class because they need a mode of production which is related to settled agriculture. So that is the reason why you can say this emerging class will become the lords in the next mode of production and the slaves will remain as the serfs. Okay, so eventually even though the slaves are going with the revolt and everything, but still they are dependent on the lord for land and protection. But these people will cultivate in the land, but maximum produce will be taken over by the serfs. Okay, so that you can say this revolt, even though revolution is there when the mature condition exists, but it is aided by the emerging class and ultimately you are satisfying the interest of this emerging class. Okay, they become the lords and you remain as serfs, the lower class itself. That's why you can say this revolt is based on false consciousness. There is a class for itself. Obviously class for itself is there because consciousness is there. The class for itself came, they fought for themselves, but they are not able to change their situation. So you can say even though class for itself came, but it is based on false consciousness as they satisfied the interest of this few. Exact similar pattern you can see when it comes to the next mode of production. Among the lords, now there is an emerging class. They are related to factory system. So in the feudal system, people are tied in land, right? Tied on land, completely or full time you are on land. But factories need free labor. So this emerging class who are related to factory will make promises and they aid and support this revolt. And the serfs will come out of this mode of production, they move towards factories as workers. So serfs become workers, these people will become the capitalist. So here also it is based on a false consciousness as the serfs revolt, but still they satisfy the interest of this few. Okay, so they are not able to change their situation, they remain as workers and it is because of the false promise that they have made. Okay, so what is their idea? If you go to the factory system as workers, you can go for work anytime, you can get the wages. If you don't want to go for work, you don't want to go. But will that ever happen? No. That is the reason why this also is based on false consciousness. So the true class for itself is not emerging. Even though consciousness is there, subjective criteria is developed. The concept of consciousness is there here, but it is false consciousness, as they are not able to change their situation. But when it comes to capitalism, there is no alternate mode of productions are emerging. Then the workers are motivated and energized with appropriate system of ideas, with proper leadership, proper organization, proper ideology. This will be based on true consciousness, and they will be able to change their situation in socialism, and workers will control everything. And in socialism there won't be any class struggle, as there is only one class, that is workers, and that will eventually end in communism. So class struggle you need to discuss only in three modes, that is ancient mode of production, feudal mode of production, and capitalist mode of production. So this is the process of class struggle. So can we go through the PDF and we will understand it better, and after that we can take up the doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, what is antagonism?
Antagonism means conflict. You see these words, antagonism, conflict, then one more word is there. What is the struggle? Yeah.
Struggle, sir.
So, yeah, you can get questions in like this: class struggle, class antagonism, or conflict. I think you're asking from the PDF, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these are different words used for the struggle. So if you get a question on class antagonism, you need to write exactly the same. So that's why I've written.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Understanding of class. So here what we said is what we are going to repeat the same. The person's position in the production process. Okay. So class means your position in the process of production. So just as you cannot choose who's to be your father, you cannot have any option with respect to your class. So understanding of class occupies a central place in Marx's systemic view of society. Man enters into relation with others for the satisfaction of needs. This is through, okay? Through production. These relations place individuals in different positions, creating abstract strata-like formations. These stratas are termed as classes. According to one second. According to Marx, men are born in societies where these relations have already been determined. That is, by birth, men are born in classes. He states, just as a person cannot choose who's to be his father, he has no choice with respect to his class.